What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. So Bitcoin almost at $100,000 right now. And this is coming off the news of what Donald Trump just said. So 6 hours ago, as of me making this video, big news conference tomorrow morning. So that would be today when you're watching this, Thursday at 10 a.m. And this is going to be concerning a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country. The first of many. Well, we think it will be a trade agreement with the UK, United Kingdom. And Bitcoin went crazy today. Actually, the last 4 days, right? The last 4 days, it's gone from around $93,000 to a high of actually around $99,000. And I just want to pause really quick and just show you how quickly things change, okay? So where were we just about a month ago? Well, we were down 33% for Bitcoin. We were at $74,000 or so. And that was about a month ago. And that's how quickly things can change. So I want to jump over to my Twitter really quick and share with this really good news, Arizona. So they just passed the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill. Now, I believe this was a separate bill than the one that Governor Katie Hobbs recently vetoed, but nonetheless, this is a good thing. So, moments ago, Katie Hobbs signed HB 2749 into law, officially creating the Arizona Bitcoin and Digital Assets Reserve. By channeling profits from the state's unclaimed property program into Bitcoin, Arizona establishes a forward-thinking, budget-neutral way to future-proof its economy. That is awesome. So this is a different law. This is using unclaimed property, right? So maybe not as bullish as saying, hey, we're going to go buy a ton of Bitcoin. But still, this is a step in the right direction. Yesterday, I shared that New Hampshire signed a law saying that they were going to adopt Bitcoin as well. So this is very, very good news. Right here, Vivek Ramaswamy. So the person who ran against Trump for the presidency, his company, Strive Enterprises, which was co-founded by Vivek, is merging with Asset Entities, Inc. to form a Bitcoin Treasury company, the latest in a string of firms to mimic Michael Saylor's strategy. This company intends to build a, quote, Bitcoin war chest with a long-term investment approach designed to outperform the world's largest crypto, meaning Bitcoin. So my red flags go up. I made a post about this on my X talking about this MSTY, as they call it, which has an insanely high dividend rate of 125%. And it's an income strategy or option income strategy ETF based on MicroStrategy. So, speaking of Celsius, which today, probably after you watch this video, we will know when or what Alex Mashinsky's sentencing will be. Speaking of Celsius, anytime I see something that says an approach designed to outperform Bitcoin, essentially get yield on your Bitcoin. Guys, if you're new to the station and you're new to crypto and you got involved in crypto after 2021, then a lot of this stuff does not create a red flag for you because you're like, cool, maybe there are ways of safely generating yield or interest or outperforming Bitcoin. But if you were around during 2021 and 2022 and you got caught up in any of the bankruptcies that were promising yield on crypto assets, then you know that anytime you read something like this, your little red flag meter goes off like mine does. All of this is happening while we are seeing unbelievably low YouTube views for crypto YouTube stations, right? Now, these are just a handful of crypto YouTube stations, but the last value is under 800,000 views. Bitcoin is basically at $100,000, and we are at less than 1/4 of where we were back in 2021 when Bitcoin was a lot less, when Bitcoin was like $60,000, right? So the lack of retail, the lack of everyday interest right now is really interesting. it's fascinating that there is such a lack of retail interest in crypto, even though we are approaching probably setting a new all-time high very soon. Right here on BTCC, you can see Bitcoin's price 99,249. Obviously, this can change very quickly, right? I just shared earlier that within a month, we went up over 30%. So could this go down? Sure. If things happen in the economy, if the market gets spooked, if the Fed does something, if China does something, if Japan does something, if India does something, if there's another threat of war, right? Whatever, we could totally revisit these levels. There's no guarantee that we're not, right? But it's just so crazy that there is such a lack of interest. Taking a look at Bitcoin dominance, we can see that Bitcoin dominance went down today a bit. It did hit a new all-time high yesterday of around 65.37%. New all-time high for this cycle, not new all-time high entirely. If we go back far enough, we can see that Bitcoin dominance was a lot higher. Oops. And essentially, that just means that most of the market was in Bitcoin, or Bitcoin occupied most of the crypto market cap. So we hit well above 72% way back in 2019. So I don't think we're going to go that high. I think we're hopefully going to peak out soon, and then the Fed will pivot and the market will become a lot more risk on, altcoins will rally, et cetera, et cetera. And that leads me to others dominance. So everything other than the top 10, we have just been kind of floundering pretty low. Again, we're putting in more or less new lows for the cycle, right? New lows for the cycle for generally altcoins, those not in the top 10. Now, I expect eventually us to see this massive surge in others dominance like we saw right here back in 2021, where we went from around 6% all the way up to close to 20%, right? Now that'll happen again when the world economy gets a lot more bullish on risk assets, when there's a lot less fear, when it's cheaper to borrow money, all of these factors, right? And also when quantitative tightening stops. So yesterday, the Fed said that they're going to keep interest rates at 4.5%. Quote, the committee will continue reducing its holdings of Treasury securities and agency debt and agency mortgage-backed securities. Therefore, quantitative tightening continues. So until this changes, I don't really see altcoin dominance going higher or others dominance going higher. Taking a look right here, Bitcoin's ROI after halving. This is over on Into the Cryptoverse. Link below if you'd like a 10% discount on these charts. So taking a look right here, we are having 4, this green line. Now, we are still well below the other 2 halving cycles, but I do believe that we will come up. I do believe that this cycle will do incredibly well. Now, the ROI may not do as well. We can see diminishing returns. This is the cycle 2 that happened 2016, 2017. This is 2020 and 2021 in orange. So we did go down a lot, but even if we come around here, right, we would still see a huge increase in the price of Bitcoin, at least a 2x, right? At least a 2x. A lot of people think we're going much, much higher this cycle, but if we hit $250,000, $300,000 per Bitcoin, I don't think a lot of people would be pissed off. And this is Bitcoin's year-to-date ROI. So the year-to-date ROI, what has Bitcoin done in 2025? So this is compared to 2021 and 2017, the 2 years after the Bitcoin halving. So we are below 2017 and 2021 right here. But if this year continues kind of on track, we will hit what we did in 2021. Right? So if this blue line kind of continues right here, we could easily hit what we did in 2021. And then we saw at the end of 2021, Bitcoin had a massive rally. So Bitcoin essentially doubled in price from day 200 all the way to day around 311, right? Towards the end of 2021. So that could totally happen. Bitcoin could have its massive rally at the end of this year and 2x in a very, very short period of time. A lot of the altcoins have done very well today. Solana up 2.7%, XRP around 3%, Avalanche 6%, Ondo 5%, Aave 8%, Link 6%, and taking a look over on TradingView, we can see some coins have done very well. Trump coin up around 10% or so. We can see SUI up 9% today as well. So a lot of altcoins have been rallying hard, and that is why Bitcoin dominance yesterday went down, because altcoins have been rallying. So we'll see what happens today with what Trump announces at the meeting. It's very volatile, right? We could see another big dip, or we could see something where Bitcoin rallies to a new all-time high in a day, and then altcoins will follow, in my opinion. So in this kind of market, it's always good to have cash on the sidelines in case we see another really scary day, like we saw, just a month ago when Bitcoin was in the $70,000 range. But also not being invested, I think, is not a good idea either. I think it's a good idea to be invested, and if you can, have some cash on the sidelines in case there is some crazy red scary day and everyone's calling for the end of crypto and Bitcoin's going down to $30,000 and all that kind of stuff, guys. So if you are a trader, check out BTCC, link below, where you can get a 10% deposit bonus. Also, if you don't have a hardware wallet, you can grab a Ledger or a Tangent wallet below using my links. And that is it for the video. I will talk to you soon. Hope you guys are doing well. Till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.